Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are reviewing the Las Vegas Raiders 7-round mock draft from our full 7-round mock draft. We did all 250 something picks, and so these are going to be the Raiders selections. Before we get into that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified when more Raiders mock drafts come out. We've already done a 3-round mock draft series before. Go check out that mock draft. We have other 3-round and 7-round mock drafts for the Las Vegas Raiders planned leading up to the 2024 NFL Draft. So the easiest way to get notified is by ringing that bell, and the easiest way to help grow our channel is by subscribing, and we greatly appreciate it. So we wanted to include some context on the players that were available and not available. So we included a couple picks before and after, and then also some other players that we think the Raiders could take with the 13 overall selection or their other picks to the right, and what team and selection they were taking there. So here with the Raiders, I think they could go a lot of different ways. The more and more, and I will say, I think about it, more and more, I think it will be clearly on the defensive side of the ball. I think that they will be able to re-sign some of their offensive lineman free agents. They had one of the better offensive lines in the league last year. Not saying that they can't go offensive line here or they won't address the offensive line. It's absolutely something that I think they can do. But here, I go look at it, and I've seen teams in the past do this, and I really like this, is they already have probably one of their strengths of the team, and then they go and add a player that can immediately go in and make that strength just gold star, just absolute amazing and nearly almost unstoppable. I think if you go add a guy like Jersey Newton to this defensive line, they do have their 2 starting defense tackles are free agents as of right now, which is February 24th. But I think you go and pair Jersey Newton, then you have Max Crosby on one side, then you have Malcolm Kuntz, and then Tyree Wilson, who they drafted last year, on the other side. Just that defensive line is just going to be almost unstoppable. Offense is going to have to bring guys in. It's going to, even the best of offenses are going to have to change up their game plan just a little bit to try and stop these guys. And so I think Jersey Newton, when we did this mock draft, I think he's fallen technically a little bit just because of the rise of Byron Murphy. So Byron Murphy's absolutely a guy that we think could go in this spot. They could also go cornerback as well. Guys like Quinion Mitchell are starting to rise up. If Cooper Jean falls, or if Nate Wiggins, who was available, they can really go anywhere, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. And so what are your overall thoughts on this pick, on this player, and what the Raiders could do here?
Yeah, I really think defense as well for them, just solidifying that strength. Also, on the offensive side of the ball, you just paid Jacoby Myers. You have Devontae Adams. You have your left tackle. Aiden O'Connell showed enough promise that I think it's worth giving him another full year to kind of go at it, especially with Antonio Pierce as the head coach. So having them continue to build that relationship and whatnot. That offensive side of the ball has a lot of room to grow. And so I think going and getting a high floor guy like Jersey Newton, I think would be a really good play here, because he's a plug and play starter on the defensive line, and he has the play strength already. I really think it's just going to be a matter of motor for him, refining some of his hand fighting techniques and getting him in favorable matchups. And I think that the Raiders are a prime spot to do that. I do think Byron Murphy has probably passed him a little bit on my board at the time of recording this video, but it's kind of this similar situation with maybe the wide receivers or the corners, where it's kind of a 1A, 1B, whichever one is your preferred flavor type there. I would like to see them maybe go for a top tier cornerback. However, I think they are one of the teams. They have a decent slot corner. They have a decent safety already. I think they're a team that would go for a guy like Nate Wiggins specifically, just because he is that alpha on the outside. I also do like Quinion Mitchell for that role as well. But to me, Nate Wiggins is the premier guy at that position. So just a few other options there.
Yeah.
So let's move on to their 2nd round pick. And this is one that, as of late, I have really started to like, and a guy that's really started to actually kind of rise up my draft boards, and that's Kingsley Suamatia out of BYU. And he's a freak athlete, 6'6", 320, and he's played both right and left tackle. So already he's going to come in and he's going to provide good depth at both spots. But with I believe it's Colton Miller at left tackle. He'll come in and fill in that right tackle spot, and he's already an upgrade over Jermaine Illuminor, in my opinion. He is very athletic, gets out very well in the run game, blocks very well in screen plays, and he also has really good sets on pass plays. So he gets a little loose with his hands sometimes and lets guys into his chest, and that's, I think, really the main way that he gets beat. But I really like what he brings to the table. And here at 44, I think dipping into this deep tackle class to protect your young quarterback is the right move to go.
Yeah, and I think too, and we kind of alluded to it as well, like with the offensive line, is if they want to go here, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be available, both on the tackle side and also on the interior offensive line side. They want to go with Christian Haynes or a guy like Christian Mahogany. I think both those guys would also be good fits to address the guard position as well. I know the right guard's also free agent as well, or even maybe if Zach Frazier falls a little bit, or shoot, even if Jackson Powers Johnson falls. Also, I'd be shocked by that, but still. Some guys there. I know here there's been some talk about Justin Fields going to the Raiders and like what is going to be the quarterback situation there. I think Aiden O'Connell maybe did enough to be like, hey, it won't be that easy to just come in and be the starter. But if they wanted to go another round, I think who knows where JJ McCarthy's going to go. We just actually had a long debate about this on the Denver Broncos 7-round mock draft video. But I think with JJ McCarthy, this could be an area here, or maybe if they want to go trade up for him, get him early in the second, maybe have like a Will Levis type draft, so to say, when getting their quarterback. I think that could be a very interesting possibility. But that being said, though, that's kind of more, I think, what the team might do. I personally think Aiden O'Connell maybe did enough, so to say, and just being a game manager, just a guy, don't make too many mistakes, and he kind of got his sea legs under him. And maybe keep trying to build around him. So then if he turns out to not be the guy, you got a good foundation for a young quarterback coming in next year or in 2026.
Yeah. So that, to me, I think you have a guy with promise. I'm really curious to see what Raiders fans think about this. So let us know down below on what you think of Aiden O'Connell and should the Raiders stick with him in 2024. Let's move on to their third-round pick, Kalen Carson, cornerback here. Just a really solid player. We mentioned earlier maybe potentially going after that outside corner, and I think Kalen Carson could come in and provide some good versatility at the cornerback spot. He can play outside, inside, and just be a really, really solid player, I think, for the Raiders here.
Yeah, I think this best player available, as we mentioned throughout the entire time. I think a lot of defensive picks here, and I think so they haven't done corner yet. This was kind of our mentality here. Because I will say after would you say after the 60th pick, after the top 60, the corners kind of come few and far between, in our opinion as well. So there's a couple of good ones here that they kind of went in a row, like those last couple, like Kalen Carson, Max Melton there went to Atlanta, Kyrie Jackson went to Houston. But after that, though, then there was kind of a sporadic, I would say, instead of the clear top notch. So I think a guy like Kalen Carson here, I could see them going with any of the other quarterbacks as well, kind of add some more depth to that secondary room.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move on to their day 3 picks here. They do have 6, so let's go ahead and get started. Bo Limmer, center, addressing the interior of that offensive line. To me, I think that's just going to be a really solid spot to solidify, especially I think they're going to want to run the ball. I know Josh Jacobs is a free agent, but that is a crucial part of their offense, especially with a young quarterback. You're going to want a solid interior. Speaking of running backs, going and getting a guy like Bucky Irving, he's going to be your smaller possession back, but I think that provides good depth in that room and a good complement piece to your every down back. Then also Tyrese Knight, the linebacker, just continuing to add depth behind. Who's the guy that had the fantastic season?
Robert
Spillane. Just continuing to add depth in that room, I think it is going to be quintessential there.
Yeah. And then wrap up their day 3 picks, just their draft result. They have 3 picks, almost back to back. But Evan Williams, Corian Clark, and then Charles Turner III. Just trying to find good overall value. They hadn't really addressed those positions. I would say outside of I'd say the Bo Limmer pick and the interior offensive line. But honestly, I think we all can agree you can't have it too many interior offensive linemen, just the way the injuries happen. You want to have those guys stuck in the system there. So all in all, I thought it was a good, kind of well-rounded draft. I think the Raiders, just in general, they're just kind of one of those teams. There's not too many positions that I can look at and be like, clear cut weakness, but they're just definitely they have a lot of areas of like, okay, they can improve here. Like if there's definitely a player a position that like a guy could be better here. Unlike if, for example, if you're like the 49ers, be like, Fred Warner is the best linebacker in the league. I don't care if you go and get the best linebacker in this draft. He's not taking his spot. I think a lot of spots are up for grabs for the Raiders position. Coming into last year, they had so much turnover, and so I think now Antonio Pierce and the entire Raiders organization is going to take another good full evaluation of the entire team and who do they want to keep, who do they not want to keep. Robert Spillane, for example, like that's going to be a guy they're probably going to want to keep him. Could there potentially be someone out there better than him? Absolutely, but he had a phenomenal season last year. I think he absolutely deserved the right to come back. Same thing with Aiden O'Connell. And my argument for Aiden O'Connell, was he good last year? Yes, but there's definitely areas for improvement.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think that's kind of going to kind of be the story of this offseason is I think the Raiders are going to be better in 2024, but just by how much. And I think you approach it through that in free agency, but then also in the draft, I think best player available, you build up this team, figure out if Aiden O'Connell can be the guy. And then if not, I think going forward, you do what you have to do to get the guy at that point because you have this young guy showing promise. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Las Vegas Raiders 7-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you do differently? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.